Background: I have worked a decade in law enforcement as a CCO, custodial corrections officer, in Australia. I worked in high-security prisons, what Americans would refer to as MACs. For the most part, I was on the coalface, meaning the toughest parts of the prison, where we had to deal with the largest units and worst offenders. I was known as Red Beard by the Crims, our nickname for the inmates, and I had a reputation for being tough but fair. In the last few years before I retired, we began getting a lot of new types of prisoners, all young, spoiled kids who had never learned the word no. These kids were in prison simply because their parents had let them get away with appalling behavior as kids, and they had never learned better. It might have been cute when they did not get what they wanted as a 3-year-old and threw a tantrum, but it is not so cute when they are 19 and don't get what they want and act the same way. It was a constant source of frustration that we had to teach these entitled brats the basic manners that their parents should have instilled at the age of 3. So you will understand why this has become something of a personal issue for me. On to the story. So I was in the shops a few weeks ago getting the fortnight's groceries. There are often parents there with their crotch goblins, but the one I encountered this day was in a league of his own. This kid, guessing 6, 8-year-old, was literally tearing up the place, running down the aisles, pulling things off the shelves, ramming into people, trying to take things from people's carts, throwing things from shelves and screaming his little lungs out at the joy of it all. His mother did precisely nothing about this. Other shoppers complained to her. The staff complained to her. Nothing. She claimed it was just a phase he is going through like all kids. She did not even try to rein him in nor clean up the mess he made. Then he came for my car. Now I am a crusty, old, and rather cranky ex-screw with PTSD. I also have a rather short temper with stupid people courtesy of my career. The following exchange took place. Kid runs up, grabs my cart, and starts hauling it. When I pull it away from him, he screams at me, then tries to climb up into it. Me, no, get down off the cart and behave yourself. The kid starts screaming and name-calling. This brings his mother running. Funny how she wasn't interested before now. EP, don't you dare talk to my child like that. He doesn't know any better. Me, yes, I can see he doesn't know any better. You need to teach your kids some basic manners. EP, you obviously don't have children? Me, actually, I have a son a little older than your own, and my child does not behave like an animal in public. And I will tell you this, if you do not teach your child some self-restraint, then when he hits adulthood, he will be heading straight for prison. Lady, you are raising a prisoner. EP, what? How dare you tell me how to raise my boy? What would you know? Me, because I have worked as a prison officer for 10 years and I have a prison full of entitled little jerks like your kid. Now show some maturity and do the right thing by your child, you stupid witch, or else get ready to only see him during visiting time. Yes, I know, I lost it here. I was indeed very angry. I admit I was probably out of line, not proud. Sometime during my tirade, the manager had arrived with 2 staff members who had gone to get him when the kid originally started acting up. The EP was flapping her mouth like a fish out of water, trying to find words, and I realized we were standing in a large circle of silent shoppers. I apologized to the manager for making a scene and asked if he wanted me to leave. He said no, but to steer clear of the EP, so I headed off and finished my shopping. From a distance, I saw the manager apparently have stern words with the EP and make her pay for all breakages caused by her child. A very sullen and subdued EP then scuttled out of the store. It is a small town, so I have no doubt I will run into EP again. Sort of looking forward to it. So, picture this, right? I'm out on a sunny Saturday afternoon, just strolling down the lively streets of downtown. You know, the kind of day where everything seems chill and you're vibing with life. There's this dude, Johnny, setting up on the corner with his guitar, belting out tunes that make you feel alive. It's that good street music that gives the whole place a cool vibe. Now, Johnny is your typical street artist. Long hair, a scruffy beard, and tattoos peeking out from under his rolled-up sleeves. The guy's got this laid-back attitude that matches his music. People are gathering around, dropping a few bucks in his open guitar case, showing some love. It's a scene, man. So, as Johnny is doing his thing, I noticed this woman. Total Karen vibes, you know. She's got the let me speak to the manager haircut and an entitled air that screams trouble. I figure she's just passing by and like everyone else, she's gonna enjoy the music and keep it moving. But no, that would be too easy. Her spawn, a little terror on a sugar high, spots Johnny's guitar and decides it's playtime. Now, Johnny is cool, but he's not about to let some kid go ham on his instrument. He gently tells the kid, "Hey, little buddy, that's my guitar. I can't let you play with it, but you can enjoy the music." Karen, being the entitled soul she is, loses it. She marches up to Johnny, her face redder than a tomato, and starts laying into him. "How dare you refuse my precious angel? He deserves to play with whatever he wants." Johnny, God bless him, tries to reason with her, explaining that his guitar is not a toy. But Karen ain't having it. She's on a warpath. She starts screaming at Johnny, calling him all sorts of names, and I swear I saw spit flying. Now, this is where it gets wild. Out of nowhere, Karen grabs the guitar from Johnny's hands. I mean, who does that? It's like she thinks the world owes her something. Johnny is shocked, and the crowd goes silent. It's like a movie scene, you know? The tension is thick, and everyone's waiting to see what happens next. Karen, with this wicked grin, raises the guitar high above her head. I'm thinking, there's no way she's gonna. But, oh boy, she does. She brings that poor guitar crashing down on the pavement, smashing it to pieces. It's like slow motion, man. The strings are twanging, wood splinters are flying, and Johnny is just standing there, jaw on the floor. I see red. I'm not even that close to Johnny, but I feel the anger burning in my chest. It's one thing to be entitled, but destroying someone's livelihood, that's a whole new level. Before Johnny can react, I see a cop car rolling up. It's like karma on wheels. The universe had Johnny's back. The crowd parts, and the cops step out, looking at the scene like, what the heck just happened? Karen, realizing she's in deep trouble, goes into full panic mode. She starts babbling about how Johnny attacked her precious angel, and she was just defending him. I'm rolling my eyes so hard, I'm surprised they don't get stuck. But here's where it gets interesting. The crowd, being the good citizens they are, start talking to the cops. People are pulling out their phones, showing videos of the whole thing. Johnny's got witnesses left and right, and Karen's story is falling apart faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. The cops, two no-nonsense officers with the kind of facial expressions that say they've seen it all, turn to Karen. "Ma'am, we're going to need you to come with us." Karen, realizing the game is up, tries to resist. "This is an outrage. You should be arresting him," she screeches, pointing at Johnny. One of the cops, this tall guy with a buzz cut, looks at her dead in the eye. "We saw the videos, lady. You're the one causing the scene. Now, are you coming willingly, or do we need to add resisting arrest to the list?" I'm standing there, soaking it all in. Justice is served, and it tastes sweet. Corinne, now cuffed and looking like she's about to explode, is escorted to the police car. The crowd cheers, and Johnny, poor guy, is just standing there amidst the wreckage of his guitar, shaking his head. The cops take statements from witnesses, including yours truly. They thank us for helping sort things out and assure us that justice will be served. I'm thinking, damn right, it better be. As Karen is driven away in the back of the cop car, I catch Johnny's eye. There's this mix of gratitude and sadness in his gaze. I walk over, pat him on the back, and tell him we got his back. The story doesn't end there, though. Turns out, Karen had a history of causing scenes over the most trivial things. The cops dig into her record and find a laundry list of offenses. It's like she's made a career out of being entitled. Johnny, on the other hand, becomes a bit of a local hero. The community rallies around him, organizing a fundraiser to help him replace his smashed guitar. The outpouring of support is incredible. Musicians from all over town offer to play at the event, and people donate more than enough to not only get Johnny a new guitar, but also cover any lost income. In the end, justice is served, and the power of the community triumphs over entitlement. The story becomes a local legend, a cautionary tale for anyone thinking they can trample on the good vibes of our city streets. And as for Johnny, well, he's back on that corner, strumming his new guitar, and the music is as sweet as ever. Thank you very much. I posted here before, and I wanted to know what I owe my parents. And thanks to your help, I was able to handle this situation. Today, Mom asked me if where I am, it was 7:39 p.m. Told her I was on my way, and I'm really busy, and we'd talk later in 30 seconds. I went to uni at 8 a.m., then a private session at 4 p.m. for 2.5 hours and was near home at 8. 5 p.m. went to walk with a friend, then was home at 8:52. Then she called me again at 8:01, and the combo went like this. She was trying to intimidate me in all these combos, and I was really, really calm. Mom, don't cut off the line. Where are you? In a passive-aggressive voice. May, I'm with a friend. I'm going to walk with him for 30 minutes near home, and I'm going to be back. Mom, fine. Don't take too long. And why didn't you answer my calls all that time? She called me once, and I couldn't answer 5 minutes before this call. Me, I'm sorry. I couldn't respond to the call, and I couldn't keep talking for much longer. I need to go, and please tell Dad what I told you, because he is calling me, and I can't respond. Mom, no, I'm not going to tell him. You call him and tell him. Me, he's near you, isn't he? I know he was home at that time. Mom, she told me, no, he isn't. Just call him. Very obvious lie. Me, I couldn't call him. Fine, I'll tell him when I'm home then. Bye, hung up. On 8:47, 40 minutes later, she called me and I responded, me, hey Mom? Mom, where the F are you? Me, I'm literally beside the apartment. Do you want me to get you anything before I come back? And you seem to be angry. Are you going to be calm or do I end the call here and talk later? Mom, send me your live location. Me, no Mom, I'm not going to send you my location. And again, you seem to be angry. So for the second time, are you going to talk calmly without screaming or do I cut the call and talk later? Mom, don't come back home. Deafening scream. Me, okay, we will talk later then. She cut the call mid-sentence. I started listening to jazz music, got myself a donut and a couple of snacks and went home. I was home 8:57. 7 minutes later, I entered and greeted my dad and kept interrogating me on where I was at what time. I told him how my whole day went with timeline. Then Mom came furious and the following combo took place. Mom, didn't I tell you not to come home? Me, yeah, so what? You aren't going to kick me from my family house. Mom, yes I am. Me, for the third time, are you going to stop shouting or are you going to talk with respect? Mom, I'm your mother. I do what the F I want, and I didn't give birth to you, feed you, and pay you all that money for your college, which is expensive, for you to tell me how to speak. Me, that was your choice, to give birth, and she cut me off shouting nonsense. So I told her, me, so like I was telling you before you cut me off, this is your job as a parent. You are expected to pay for that stuff because you wanted to even before I was born. However, it isn't expected for me to handle all your bullcrap, especially for that long. Mom, no, we should pay for you till a certain age and then you leave. Dad cut her off and said some more bullcrap while she was shouting. I told her, me, for the last time you need to choose, are you going to stop shouting or are you going to leave? She went silent finally. So I said, me, I'm not going to pay back my tuition fees by putting up with your bullcrap. So either we both talk with respect or we don't. Mom, oh, so you are judging your parents now. Okay, I'm going to do what I didn't do to your older brother who is 7 years older than you. I'm going to make a list with all your responsibilities and all your responsibilities because you don't want to be normal. You want to be special. Me, Mom, that's going to be a really short list from my end. I'm only asking you to be a normal, sober mother and stop shouting and screaming like a maniac. That's it. She went nuts and started shouting and screaming and left. Round 2. Of course, after that, Dad went to talk to me and told me, Dad, you couldn't talk to your parents in that way. We are your parents. And you are being really inconsiderate as she is really, really worried about you and we expect you to be a better son. As we were good parents, did you ever ask for anything and we didn't do? With a really slight smile. Me, Dad, it isn't my job to be her anxiety medication. And yes, I asked for you to be a good father and you failed miserably. You were hitting me on my face with your slippers and punching me till I was 18, and you were throwing glass plates and mugs at me and was cursing and swearing 24/7 and made sure that I felt I was the fault every single time. And asked Mom to be a good mother, and you can see how that failed. Of course he knows because he cheated on her and got married for a year 2 years ago. For F's sake, he even made jokes to me about it, about how he wants another wife. Dad, you really are overreacting. That was a long time ago. When was the last time I hit you on the face? Plus that time where I threw plates, you drive me nuts. You made me really mad at you," with a slight smile. "And don't forget what you were just talking that way to was your mother, the one that gave birth to you, and she was really worried." Me. "Dad, that wasn't a long time ago. The last time you threw plates on me and hit me with your slippers on my face was a couple months ago, and is that really your excuse? So it's my fault I made you mad and not yours for doing all that. You know what? I don't want the answer. I'll just leave." He smiled and kissed me on my forehead on the way out. I feel like I'm living with maniacs. They don't even know how they are feeling. When I was in junior high many years ago, I was usually a quiet person. We had an older gentleman as our science teacher. About halfway through the school year, he broke his leg. I think he had been doing some work on his house and fell off a ladder. We got a substitute teacher, a middle-aged woman who told us initially she would only be subbing for about a week or two. The class was usually not too bad, but one day while she was trying to lecture, people weren't really listening and it was getting a little bit louder. She didn't really handle it well and started screaming at the whole class and ranting about our behavior and disrespect. She finally ended with, "And if you don't like it, you can just leave." Now I'd been sitting quietly the whole time, but her yelling was quite offsetting for me. I listened to her whole rant and kind of took it personally, although I knew I shouldn't. It just kind of set me off. So as soon as she shrieked out that last part of "you can just leave," I stood up forcefully. It pushed my chair back about 4 feet. I was in the back of the room. My chair scraped loudly and made that metallic sound. When I stood up, the whole class turned around and everyone just stared at me. The substitute and I just stared at each other for a few seconds. Her mouth was open and then I just walked out, slamming the door behind me. I called her bluff. I guess I have a bit of a rebellious streak in me that doesn't come out all the time, but something about her yelling and losing it in front of the class rubbed me the wrong way and brought it out in me at that moment. I took a minute, walked over and got a drink of water at the fountain, then casually walked back in the classroom. She asked where I went, very quietly, and I told her I was thirsty and wanted a drink of water. The whole class was watching when I came back in, but after I returned, the rest of the class went fine. She didn't send me to the principal's office, which I fully expected. She kept teaching the rest of the semester because the injury to our teacher was worse than they thought. She never yelled at the class again or made any more ultimatums. She and I never brought it up again.